Ahead of the 31st of January self-assessment tax return deadline, a lot of you are complaining out there that when you're attempting to call HMRC and get through to speak to an advisor, well, actually you're just not getting through. You're being kept on hold, or your calls are being cut off, or if you do get through, you end up spending 60, 90 or plus minutes just to get through to speak to somebody. So I can imagine this is immensely frustrating. In fact, there's an article that's been written by the Daily Mail only on the 4th of January here, where the headline is "Civil servants spark huge HMRC phone delays for people trying to file their tax returns because they are still allowed to work from home. People are reporting waiting more than an hour to speak to HMRC advisors. There's a big rush because of the 31st of Jan deadline, and so on." The article goes on to state that HMRC's customer support Twitter feed has been flooded with complaints, with callers reporting to have been on hold for nearly 2 hours before being cut off without speaking to an advisor. Another said it's impossible to speak to HMRC these days. A third wrote that they made 3 calls with no answer, worst service ever encountered. And a fourth added, "Stop issuing penalty notices when you are ridiculously understaffed. I spent 95 minutes today waiting for somebody to pick up the phone, and even then issues dating back to 2020 remain unresolved." There seems to be a common theme here. Furthermore, according to official data recorded in October, since working from home came in for HMRC employees, I think they work from home 2 days a week, average call wait times have risen from 8 minutes and 45 seconds to 40 minutes and 17 seconds. And it is being claimed it's all because HMRC staff here are allowed to work from home. And in fact, official figures reveal that HMRC had the lowest office occupancy rate of any Whitehall department. Government data showed it to be as low as 9% and no higher than 61%. And here's another thing here. It comes after HMRC computer blunder saw nearly 100,000 callers turned away from phone lines and online services at the beginning of December 2022. This doesn't make for pretty reading at all. So personally, perhaps you may or may not be experiencing this. Some of you will, others won't. But if you do, I can imagine it's immensely frustrating. In fact, it is. The worst part of it is if you don't get your tax return submitted on time by the 31st of January, you're going to get subject to an automatic £100 penalty. And furthermore, if you end up submitting it with errors, whether they're genuine or not genuine, again, there is potential for penalties. But worse still, if you are submitting with errors, it's the hassle of actually going through a compliance check, audit, etc. that comes with that. So the key question really for you is there a solution or a potential solution to this problem? Well, I certainly can't resolve HMRC's issues, their staffing issues or their phone lines, etc. But one of the things or choices you do have as an individual taxpayer is whether you're going to do it yourself, in which case you're going to be relying on HMRC's information and phone lines, or you can use an accountant. And the advantage in this particular scenario of using an accountant or tax agent, as you can see on screen, is that they have a dedicated helpline to HMRC. Now, this is a separate line altogether from people who are doing it themselves, or folk like yourself. And these dedicated agent lines are normally better staffed with better quality individuals. So it's down to the agent to actually then act on your behalf. So by using and engaging with a tax agent or accountant, they're the ones who are going to be calling HMRC on your behalf for whatever query needs to be resolved or questions that they may be. So just imagine the amount of time that's going to save you, according to some of the reports that are coming out at the moment, which I can really attest to because by experience I've seen it myself. I've actually gone through it myself personally. That's 60 minutes, 90 minutes, even hours. Sometimes you can never get through. Sometimes you get through, you don't get your query resolved satisfactorily. So these are all frustrations you want to really avoid. Now, if you're looking for a self-assessment tax return provider at very, very short notice, the one I can recommend is Tax Scouts, which is on screen, an excellent system and really, really easy to use and sign up. Before you ask, yes, I am affiliated with them, but you'll get a 10% discount. You can see the fee on screen is £134 if you use my affiliate link below in the description box. And it's very, very easy to use in that sense. Yes, I do get commissions for everybody who signs up, but that is besides the point. The reason why I'm recommending Tax Scouts is because it's a service I've road tested before. There's not many I can really recommend, and I can actually vouch for their Trustpilot 4 out of 5, 4.8 out of 5 is because I've actually trialed and tested their service myself personally, they are very, very good. It's easy to sign up. And also, if you do sign up, you get a dedicated accountant who will then get access to a dedicated agent line on your behalf. So they'll be making those phone calls to HMRC, which a lot of users out there, a lot of people are complaining are taking them hours to get through. Even then, they can't even get through. So they'll do that on your behalf. However, before doing that, you have to give them what's called 64.8 authorization. Once that clears, then only then can they speak to HMRC on your behalf. So you need to give it a little bit of time for them to do that. It takes time to fill the form, send it back to them, and then for them to submit it to HMRC. So do bear that in mind. Alternatively, if you are quite adamant you're going to do it yourself, then I recommend this video here, which is a 45-minute tutorial that I've done step by step to help you complete your self-assessment tax return for the 21-22 year.